Well, welcome back. We're celebrating Women's Business Small Month. It's Women's Small Business Month.
Yes, we are. And there are often people in our lives that aren't around long enough, and the desire to be with lost loved ones is very real.
And our next guest performs psychic readings to help you reconnect with those loved ones who've crossed over. Stacie Tatera is a medium, healer, and teacher, and she joins us to discuss the benefits of these readings. She also offers Reiki sessions, angel card readings, spiritual and counseling, and so much more. Stacie, thanks for joining us.
Good to have you here.
Thank you so much. Super excited.
So what's your background and how did you get involved in this type of work?
Right. So I'm originally from the East Coast. I was born in Baltimore and moved to the Midwest in '95, I think it was, and spent about 20 years in corporate sales. And actually, my major was TV and radio. So I interned out east in Baltimore at a local TV news station for a couple of summers. But really, my background is business and sales, and then an interest has always really kind of been there for me in the spiritual, and like I had mentioned, it really kind of started in that angelic realm. And then, honestly, I had a family member pass away when I was in college, and that loved one started to come to me, and I was like, what's this about? Like,
when you were awake, when you were asleep?
Like when I was awake, when I was around, and I think the big thing was sensing that energy was around me.
Yeah.
So I had an awareness of that, but it was like, what do you do with that? So it took me a while to kind of decide I wanted to move forward with what this was. I had lots of friends who were, I was always very intuitive, very in tune with other people and things, and you get those gut feelings. And so I decided to, as I was in the corporate world, I decided to start my own business and to start seeing people professionally and doing readings. And it was important to me to work with a, high-level professional medium, which I did, do some training online, had an opportunity to work with James Van Praagh. And he's a national, international medium and author, and his style was very much in alignment with how I work and how I read. So once I got certified, it kind of was my side hustle for a long time, just really, doing Reiki. I'm now a Reiki master teacher, but that was another piece of it too, was, incorporating that energetic perspective into the work as well. So I'm very much always wanting to learn and to understand different modalities. And so the mediumship was a big thing. Learning to do and getting attuned and certified through Reiki was very important to me. And now I find myself teaching other people, right? Yeah. So I teach mediumship classes, I teach.
Do you think most of us have the ability to sense energy, know that others are around, or communicate?
I do, absolutely. And that's a question I get asked a lot. Does everyone have a sense? Yes, we're born with this innate sense. It's that intuition. I call it your spidey senses. Yep. Especially as parents, as a mom, I have 2 daughters, beautiful daughters, and you get this sense, you're like, something doesn't feel right, or something's off, and that, so we have to, but the biggest thing is people don't trust that.
No.
So it's like, you really want to be able to trust that and understand that I need to pay attention to what it is that I'm getting, because oftentimes people say, I should have listened to my intuition or my gut.
You knew it.
Right, exactly.
So what is a reading like with you? How do people prepare? What kind of services or readings do you offer?
So I would say that the majority of people that come in for readings, mediumship and psychic intuitive. So the difference between the two, because sometimes people don't understand, is mediumship is when I'm specifically connecting to loved ones who have transitioned. So those are the loved ones who have passed on and that we would say are on the other side. That's a mediumship reading. Psychic intuitive is more where you're tuning into an energy around any questions you have on things going on in your life. So people have questions about their spiritual path and journey. They also have questions about their relationships or work or, just everyday types of things. It's funny, people will come in now and say, I know this is so cliche, but when am I going to meet my partner?
That's what everybody wants to know.
It's kind of funny. I know. It's when's that going to happen?
Can you tell someone that?
Well, that's where it gets tricky. So with psychic intuitive, the way I explain it is that things shift and change quickly. I mean, we've learned that in the last 5 years, like things can change on a dime. And so we're in this constant flow of energy, and energy shifts and changes. So I can always say, I'll tell you what I see today.
Yeah.
And that's based on your spirit team and your guides and what they're, letting me know. And then, just kind of seeing how that plays out. But a lot of clients do come back and they'll say, hey, you told me this and that absolutely happened, or something won't necessarily make sense. And then like 6 months later, they're like, oh my gosh, there it is. So that happens a lot too.
I love that.
You mentioned thinking that everybody has the ability and just has to kind of tap into it. You foster that. What are some of the classes that you offer and what would people get out of it?
Sure. So one of the biggest classes that I teach right now, that I teach twice a year, it's an all-day class. It's my spiritual foundation class. And actually, I meditate every day. I try to stay as connected as I can. And this was a class that was dropped into me from my spirit team. And so it's a class where we talk about all things spiritual, where people sometimes don't know where to start. They're like, I know there's something more. I want to dig into myself. I want to learn more about meditation. I want to understand energy. I'm an empath. How do I manage that? I'm having problems forgiving. How do I manage that? And so this class that I teach, which actually I'm teaching one in November, on November 9th, is, we talk about all these topics. We talk about boundaries. We talk about better ways to communicate. I do talk about also death in the afterlife. So, and I teach a death in the afterlife class. I also do various classes on mediumship, and I sometimes work with another medium. It just depends. And we work with people who are gifted and help them really kind of hone in and practice their gifts and their skills.
And you do free angel card readings on your
Yes,
website,
yes.
so people can go there as well. But if people want to reach you, we're going to give the information. Easily, they can just contact you and then schedule an appointment, right?
Yes, and that would be perfect, MilwaukeeMedium.com.
Yeah.
And I actually have a gallery event coming up October 18th, this Friday.
Perfect.
So have tickets available. So if you're interested in potentially having a reading done for, a loved one that's passed, I have tickets available. Everything's on the website.
All right, we'll give that out. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Stacie.
Thank
Good to
you
meet
so
you.
much.
To book a session with Stacie Tatera, go to her website, MilwaukeeMedium.com, and make sure you put Morning Blend in the notes. That's how you're going to save 10%. This offer is good from now until December 31st. To stay up to date on her events and information, follow Stacie on social media. Also on her website, you can sign up to receive her monthly newsletter and her angel card readings.